And here we go. We are finally live, folks. Thank you for hanging tight there. And of course,
And here we go.
everybody knows
Live,
the
folks.
gentleman to
Thank
my
you for
left.
hanging tight there. And of
I got
course,
the
here we
feedback
go.
going on.
Live, gentleman to my left. Right there.
Oh, there you go. Hang on.
Here we go. Live, gentleman to my left. Right there.
I don't know where that feedback comes from. I think we got an alien invasion happening. Hang on, hang on. There. Oh, there we go. Oh, maybe not. Can you hear me, Dustin?
I can hear you over the squeaking.
I'm just trying to figure out where it's all coming from.
Squeaking never ends. Today was Alien Invasion Day, so who knows?
I was like, wow, like, yeah, I was reading about that all day on the
Yes.
Invasion Day. I was like, oh, finally, I get a vacation from work.
Indeed. And here we are.
Ah,
I was hearing
and here
voices there for a while. I didn't know what was going on.
I know. I was like, where are these voices coming from? Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. And of course, no introduction to our gentleman to my left, my right. I don't understand this camera stuff. He is, of course, the paranormal rock star and motivational speaker, Mr. Dustin Pari. Dustin, thank you so much for coming on and doing this brand new show that I've just started up. It's been just a little bit over a month now, and yeah, and
How's it
when
going
I
so
was,
far?
it's been really rewarding being able to talk to people that have really overcome a lot of challenges in life, and also at the same time they're motivating people to do things. So yeah, it's coming along quite well, and of course, the whole concept when I was always thinking about this show in the back of my mind was you, because every single morning I wake up, here's Dustin on his Twitter motivating people to get their day started, to do just be kind to one another. And it's like this is what life really needs right now.
Well, I
So
appreciate that, sir. Doing my best. Still at it, whatever it takes. We keep trying.
I mean, everybody does know you from the paranormal wheel, of course, paranormal world, all your good work that you've done on Ghost
Thank
Hunters
you.
International and Ghost Hunters. What a lot of people don't really get to hear you besides see your post, but you are a motivational speaker.
Yep, that's where the I think the passion burns the brightest. I mean, even if I do a paranormal lecture, I always put in a bunch of my motivational ideas and things because I feel like it all ties in. It all comes back to the same idea, the same point. We're going through this life together. Spirit's going through a human experience. Not from here. Don't stay here. We can make it a little easier for each other, but some of us choose chaos every day.
Yes, and exactly right now that is what the world is chaos. I mean, it is to a point now where I don't even turn on my TV half the time because it's disheartening. It's mind-blowing just how ugly the world truly is right now.
I just like wrestling. I just watch wrestling, because it's the world isn't so ugly so much as it is just where they point the camera, And I worked for television news for about 7 years or so for CBS and Fox locally, and it's just if it bleeds, it leads. If it's crying, zoom in. Like it's just god awful stuff. And I pitched a news segment, good news for good people. And I thought this would be great. We could do like, baby giraffe born at the zoo. We could go do happy little news stories, people, helping out their community and things like that. And yeah, they said nobody would watch that. Nobody wants anything positive. I was like, oh, great. And even in the paranormal realm, I pitched a whole show about angels and angel intervention and people's stories about encountering angels and the choices that they've changed in their lives because of it. No, we don't want that. We just want demon stories. So I think that unfortunately, the people that are in control of the cameras out there, people in control of the major news networks, mainstream media, all that crap, they like to just run with the negative narratives all the time. And so I think that's a problem, which is nice, which is nice now because we do have alternatives, right? Like we've got things like YouTube here, right?
Right.
We've got options to make our own programs and try to make it something that's worthwhile and satisfying to our soul and nourishing to our soul, rather than just all the nonsense that's out there all the time.
Absolutely, and I agree. So I would just like to go back, like, where did the whole motivation thing start for you personally? Like, I mean, like, how far back does this go? I mean, I've known you for quite a while now, and you've always been this upbeat, like every day is Christmas kind of guy, which is great.
I'm delusional, Dale. That's the reality of it. I'm friggin' delusional.
But no, it just where did this all begin? What day did wake up and just say, you know what? I need to be I need to spread the positivity.
That came about because of a wonderful little creation called MySpace. Back in the day when people were friendly to each other on the social platforms, and we'd go on there, and you could change your background to fun little backgrounds. You could put on music to tell people how you're feeling. Everyone was friends with Tom. It was a nicer place, and people would write to me. I was on Ghost Hunters International at the time, and people would write to me about the show and how they hated the show and how they hated my visor. And I'd just write back to them, hey, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you watching. Because I don't really care. Um, and there was a decent amount of questions about the field, about the paranormal, about ghosts, a million and one garbage orb pictures and that kind of stuff. But people only know what they know, so it was fine. I don't mind trying to educate people and teaching them what I know from my experiences. Not that I'm the end all expert of it, but I've been around for a long time, seen a lot of things. So it was a lot of that. But then I started getting some emails from people, messages on MySpace and such that were of a deeper and more thoughtful and more serious nature. Things about dealing with depression or loss of a loved one, loss of their job, questions about self harm and cutting, thoughts about dying by suicide. And I was always very cautious because I wanted to make sure I wasn't sending anybody in the wrong direction. Because although I have a very kind heart and I want to help everybody, I'm not a trained, clinician. I'm not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or suicide prevention, hotline worker or anything. So I'm just someone that wants to help. So I realized a lot of times people just need somebody to listen, and you don't have to be on a reality TV show to have that opportunity. We all could listen to each other as we go through this life and make a point to treat each other decently. And so I just tried to be an ear to people, try to listen to them, see what they wanted to say, give them what advice I could. But then, just like I do now when I sign off my social media at night, I would always point them in the direction of something like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or whatever it was they were struggling with, domestic abuse, that kind of thing. Because it's one thing to listen and to let people kind of get it off their chest, but you have to also kind of take the next step and try to point them in the right direction and try to follow up with them to encourage them to make sure that they're taking those steps, because this life isn't easy, and we all need all the help we can get, and that's okay.
No, and I mean, absolutely. I mean, for somebody like myself who does struggle from mental illness and that's had a lot of ups and downs, and close calls in life, yeah, I mean, a lot of times you just feel alone and you just want somebody to talk to, and you really don't. Sometimes the hardest part is knowing who you can talk to and
Mhm.
just open up to, because I mean, in my experience, it's like you feel like you can talk to somebody, you tell them your story, you tell them what's wrong with you, and their best advice is, well, suck it up
Yeah.
and and move on. And I mean, if it was only that easy for somebody who is struggling to just suck it up and move on, I mean, it
Right.
would be easy, but it's not. And a lot of people that are out there who do suffer from mental illness feel like they're the loneliest people in the world,
And I
which
think
is
that's
not true.
no, it's a very good point. I feel like in this human condition that we find ourselves, we crave contact. We crave physical touch. We crave emotional connection. After a long day, It's nice to have someone you can talk to, you can kind of decompress to, someone to hold your hand, someone to hug you. They did a study years ago. I can't remember. Pardon me. Put my apple juice down. It's not apple juice. I saw this study a long time ago where they had taken these newborn monkeys and they separated them right after birth, and they had one monkey that was with the original mother, and in an adjacent room they had the other sibling, and that monkey was with a robot style mother. And when the monkey was hungry, it would produce food for the monkey. But it would never coddle, it would never hold, it would never touch. And just the way in a short period of time, you see the developmental differences. One is, coddled and feeling well and running around and doing things. The other one's just kind of sitting in a corner, like doesn't know how to act, doesn't know how to interact. And I feel like a lot of that is going on in our society today, because now everything is technology, right? And everything is available here in the palm of your hand. You can order stuff online. It'll be at your house in 2 days or less. You don't even have to meet anybody or see anybody or touch money or do anything. We'll just get all the stuff to you. Don't worry about it. And coming out of, the forced quarantine thing too, like we just made people not be able to talk to each other physically. Like, yeah, everyone was Zooming and things. I'm like, this is nice, but it's a lot cooler when you and I are at a convention and actually hanging out, can see each other, And so that you can't take away that human contact and the importance of that human contact. We crave it. We need it. We thrive on it. And when it's taken away from us, it becomes very difficult to get through this life. And to your point, like you try to talk to somebody about it, and it's, once in a while you do get somebody who really does want to help and is listening and actively listening and trying to help you. Then you've got some others that are just one-uppers. You see a lot of this stuff on Facebook. It's like, oh, I had a horrible day today. I went to work, lost my job, came home, got a flat tire, and it's just been an awful day. And you'll get the people, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers. Let me know if I can help. And then you always get this one ass clown who's like, oh, that's nothing. I went to work today and lost my job, and I got a flat tire, and I came home, my cat was dead, and my house burned down. It's like, this is not a competition, right? Like, this is not
Right.
like whose job or life is more miserable. Like, I mean, even if all those god awful things happen to you, it doesn't make the other person's problems any less important.
Right.
We have to remember, like, we're all struggling. We're all going through stuff. And that's just part of this human condition. That's how we get stronger. We grow, we learn, but we need to be able to do it together. And when people are just willing to push you aside and just tell you to buck up and get over it, it doesn't help. And yeah, I mean, there's some small things in life that you do have to just kind of, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. But there are such more serious things in life that when you're going through it, that type of advice isn't going to help anybody. And it's sad. It's sad. I think a lot of times people are just waiting for their own turn to talk, and they're not really listening to what the other people are saying, and they're not trying to help in any way.
Right. Now, for you, I mean, what does Dustin do for when Dustin's not feeling the greatest and, doesn't really, you know, want to talk or have somebody to talk to at the moment? What is the Dustin thing to do?
I talk to myself a lot. It's funny. And I'm so thankful for the opportunities I've been granted in this life and the blessings that I have. And on my YouTube channel or on Instagram or Reels or wherever, I make these little videos and I post these little videos about how to deal with certain things in life, certain struggles, certain hardships and stuff. And you cast a big enough net, there's always somebody that's like, wow, I really needed to hear that today. And I'm thankful.
Yeah.
And maybe the other people, that message wasn't for them today, but maybe they'll remember it somewhere down the road when they do need it.
Right.
But the secret to it all is, majority of those videos, I'm recording them because I'm talking to my damn self, because I need to work myself through some stuff. And I find that if I could project it outwards, if I can realize that this isn't something that's unique to me, this is a very common human struggle, like depression, loneliness, frustration, anger. These are things that we all go through. So instead of just internalizing it, I found to almost be self kind of therapeutic, but in a way that I'm recording it as if I'm trying to help other people, because I am.
Right.
But
Right.
the problem usually originates with this guy. So that's what I do for that. And then I just, physical health, as you know me, Dale, is very important. Like, I just got in from the gym to come here.
Right.
And tonight's not even a gym night, although every night ends up being a gym night. I mean, literally every damn morning I wake up and I'm so tired. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to the gym tonight, man. I'm going to work. I'm coming home. I'm going to crack open a beer and go to bed. I'm not going to the gym. And then, I'll get here and I'm like, I got like an hour and a half before this interview. I can get over to the gym for 45 minutes to an hour and get back here. Like, let's go make it happen.
Right.
And I even just going out for a walk, like maybe lifting weights or whatever isn't your thing, but going outside is so very important. Like I love going hiking and stuff, but just getting outside. I know right now it's a little bit more challenging because the air is cold, but I layer up. And I go for my little walks and stuff. And it's important too. And I feel I love just looking up at the stars or going out in the woods and sitting down at the base of a tree and staring all the way up the tree. And I just feel like it's good to feel small in a big world sometimes. Because I think that with the world being seemingly in the palm of our hand with our phones all the time, everything being kind of customized to us, our apps to go to Dunkin' Donuts, our preferences on Amazon, the things we like to watch being suggested to us on Netflix. It's such a self-serving experience that the world becomes a lot smaller. It loses a lot of its magic and loses a lot of the things that make us feel better. And I think when you are outside and you're struggling with something and you look up at the stars and just lose yourself in that for a moment, you start to realize that there's bigger things at play here. And if we can put our faith and our hope in the things that we cannot see, I think that's the most important thing that we need to do. And we need to remember that we're not alone here, no matter how alone we may feel. And this is a line from a book called Victorian Home for Wayward Girls, I think. And Emily, name's going to escape me, but it's a great little story. And the line I really like, the line gets used in a lot of memes, but it's misattributed. It's always put with the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. And the line is, for you are a very real thing in a very fake world. And that, my dear, is why you were in so much pain. And I think that sums it up. We are spiritual beings in this human world, and the world has become garbage, And again, it's where we point the camera, right? Because you go out in the woods, you see happy little squirrels and stuff running around. Like, it's like being in a goddamn Disney movie. It's awesome. But then you sit in front of your TV or your phone, and it's like you start doom scrolling. Everyone hates each other. Everyone's angry. Everyone's fighting. People are fighting in traffic. People are like pissing on the sidewalk. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But it's where you choose to focus. It's where you choose to operate your life and how you choose to take things in. And you can be in control of that and realize that, yeah, a lot of the world is plastic with plastic people and garbage opinions and a lot of nonsense and anger and hate.
Right.
But if I change what I'm looking at, if I change what I'm taking in, I listen to a lot of like uplifting podcasts. I'm a Christian. It's right for me. It doesn't have to be right for everybody. I listen to my Christian podcasts. I go for long walks. I play Pokemon. And I'm a happy little boy. I'm not bothering anybody. No one's bothering me. When I'm done, I feel better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on 100%. I would rather be outside walking through the woods. I mean, I do like going to the gym. Gym is still fairly new to me. I mean, guys like you, Tim Shaw, Frank,
Sure.
and Michael John have all really encouraged me to go back to the gym. And it's like I do feel good about myself when I'm at the gym, but I feel better about myself when I'm just able to go walk through the woods and just take all that in. It's just something about the environment, being in the woods, being away from the noisy traffic, being away
Yeah.
from a segregated world. You can just really clear your mind out there and let the earth just soak in all your worries and then just move on with your life.
Yeah.
That's like the go-to place.
There's a wonderful concept, very popular in Asian cultures, called forest bathing. And you don't have to strip down into the nip and show all your man parts out there. Don't go causing problems out there, Dale. But just go out into
Damn, you should have told me that earlier.
the idea of just sitting out amongst nature, sitting out in the woods for hours and just being a part of the environment and just kind of letting the natural ions of the forest kind of scrub away all that which is bothering you and just kind of put yourself in a better place, just physically and mentally and emotionally. And there's something to it. And we don't ground ourselves anymore. I've been using this a lot in my Spirit Quest events when the weather's a little nicer. And my Spirit Quest events, like 15 people or less, we go to a haunted location, but it's more about developing our own spiritual abilities and getting in contact with who we are. And one of the things I like to do is a grounding exercise where we just go walk barefoot outside in the grass or the woods or wherever it might be, safe places. But
Right.
because we don't do that anymore. Like when we were kids, we were happier, right? And think about it. Most of the time, we were like barefoot outside, running around in the grass, drinking water out of random hoses in people's driveways. The sun was still yellow. We still had hope. Everything was wonderful. And now we're always insulating our bodies from the energy of the earth. We're always wearing sneakers or shoes or whatever. We're always sitting in rooms underneath fake lighting, and everything is just not real. But there's a natural energy exchange that goes on with us when we are outside in nature and barefoot and connected to the earth. And Adam Wislick, I always mess up his last name, the Black Swamp Medium. He's up in Michigan area.
Yeah.
He,
Adam, such a great guy. I mean,
great guy.
he is so amazing. I've been talking to him off and on in the last because he's going through a real life changing like path. Like I mean,
Yeah.
he's really changed his whole world around. But and I was talking to him and I'm like, this is what life is about: is knowing your path and staying on your path. And if you're
Mhm.
not happy with that path, there's always other paths that you can always try, and
Yeah.
and I told him that's what life's all about right now.
Yeah, he inspired me to try a snow walk. And I was like,
Oh,
man, I'm good with going out in the grass or even the leaves barefoot, but the snow sounds like a little slice of hell. He's like, no, no. He's like, just try it. Just try to go outside, like to get the mail. And so, of course, my mailbox is like at the end of the driveway. But I made it. I made it, and I wasn't maybe happy. I may have cursed him a couple of steps in, but I can see the importance of that connection and that experience as well. There's something to be said for it, and it made me really thankful when I came back inside. Oh yes, this is good now.
thank you
But
for the heat.
yeah, but he would love
um,
to see it. But it is like and a lot of times this is like one of my pet peeves. People like they'll ask for advice or they'll respond to something I post, and like, oh, if it was just that easy, it's like, well, if it's important to you to change your life in a way that's more positive, or do something that you really want to do, pursue your goal, why the hell should it be easy? Like very few things in this life that are worth doing are very often easy, but it's always a struggle. If it's something you really want, you have to struggle for it. And if it's just handed to you, it doesn't mean as much. And we quickly tire of those things.
see, we spoke of his name, and here he is, the one and only Tim
Ah,
Shaw.
Tim Shaw, fresh from the gymnasium, the head lunker himself.
Uh,
I like our little group though, our little lunker corners. It's nice to inspire each other to stay active at the gym. And yes, Tim, I have to work off all my Dunkin' Donuts. That's why I'm always at the gym. Morning starts with Dunkin' and ends at the gymnasium.
no, I mean, yeah, I mean, and it's good. I mean, ever since we've started this little group, the Lunker Nation, I mean, we have lots of people who message. I mean, Tim, I always see it on his Facebook wall every time he's at the gym, and even with you, I mean, it's good and it's inspiring people to get out there and think about their mental health. And I mean, really, that's what the gym is. A lot of people are like, well, I don't want to exercise, but you can't look at it like that. I look at it as I'm going someplace where I can actually reflect on myself, put in a pair of headphones,
Mhm.
and just, think about where I'm going, all the great opportunities that I have had, and the more that are coming, like I said. And it's a good place for me to think and
Yeah.
relax and not have to deal with the world. But people go, well, it's like work. Well, if you think it that way, then that's what
Right.
it is. But
Yeah.
it's a great mental release
Yeah,
overall.
you just have to train your brain to see it differently, just like everything else. We become a product of what we take in, and if we look at things one way and we see it as a chore, we see it as something horrible, then we're always going to feel that way about it. So we just need to like constantly try to make it a positive thing. And so for me, I love going to the gym at the end of the day because I feel like I can work off whatever stresses I've had throughout the day, and I can really like when I'm focused on doing an exercise, I'm really into that moment, right,
Right.
Mike? I'm trying to lift this weight. I'm really focused on doing that, and all the other cares from the day and all the other things are just not present at that moment.
Right.
And so that's very important for me too.
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's just like one of the many ways of self-care. It is so important, and I think really the pandemic really taught us that self-care is something that we all lacked
Mhm.
because we were all in our busy lives working 9 to 5, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, doing everything, but nobody stopped to think about ourselves. But when the world shut down because of this nasty disease that was running rapid everywhere, we had time to reflect and we had time to think and think about what it is we truly want in life. And I think that was the one thing that I saw came positive out of COVID was people actually started thinking about what it is that made them happy instead of the get up and work every day and just make sure everybody was taken care of.
Yeah, the perception of work, I think, really changed quite a bit. Sadly, a lot of people never went back, which is impacting our reality now because, like, you go places like nothing's stocked, everything's falling apart. It's like, what's going on? Like, we still need to do jobs, But I think a lot of people realized maybe the path they were on, the things they were doing, wasn't really um, providing the life that they wanted. Maybe things were paid for, but it's paid for at the toll of your own happiness, which is never a good trade. I've started ending a lot of my lectures lately with thanking people. I mean, I always thank people for coming, but thanking them for coming and spending their time with me. Even everyone that's zoomed in tonight or watching on YouTube or whatever, you're spending your time here for whatever reason. And no matter how hard you work, no matter how much money you make, you can never buy that time back. So when people tell you that money is the most important thing in this life, it's absolutely easily proven wrong because yeah, although it can buy you mozzarella sticks, and I'm a boy that loves mozzarella sticks, no matter how hard I work, I can make millions and millions of dollars. But on my deathbed, if I want to buy an extra 2 to 3 days, it doesn't matter how much money you had. So
Right.
what were you doing with the time that you were given? And that I think we start to think a little bit differently now these days. And I try to personally spend more time just in reflection and contemplation. And I just like to. I took a day for myself. I call it a unicorn day. I don't do them often enough for myself, which I need to get better at. But unicorn days, I don't do any social media posting. I don't answer emails. I don't use the phone. I don't do anything that is required of me normally. And I walked for about 7.5 hours. I drove to some of my favorite places out in the woods, down by the ocean front, down by the beach, and out to the shrine. And I just walked all day, like 7.5 hours. I got myself a lemonade, took myself out to my favorite restaurant, went out somewhere else and walked some more, and went to another little restaurant. I had a wonderful time. And I didn't document anything. I didn't live with it. I just did my thing. It was really nice, really nice. And I'm looking forward to doing more of those next year. I'm trying to tell myself I got to do at least one a month. It's kind of a big goal for me because I'm constantly busy, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
You are one of the most busiest guys I've ever seen. And Tim says money is only good to buy a wig that looks like Justin's hair.
I would love to see Mr. Shaw wearing something like this.
There we go. Challenge has been laid.
Yes.
Um, no, and I mean that I try to do that for myself at least a few times a month as well. Take time for myself, like step away from the computers, just get away from everybody and just kind of have I call it a recharge
Mhm.
because you're I just turn the phone off and I just do what I want to do and enjoy the things that I really enjoyed. Like I even enjoy going axe throwing.
Oh, nice.
It's
Yeah, that's
it's
fun.
very therapeutic to throw an axe at a piece of wood
Right.
for about an hour.
Yeah. There is. There's something to it, man. There's something like kind of primal in there and accomplished when you hit the target. Like it feels good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
I
I mean
get
I
you.
think more people should do that. Like just take time for yourselves
Yeah.
as hard as it is, but you always got to take time and do you got to recharge yourself and do things for
Right.
yourself. And I mean, it's great to help everybody, but at the same time, if you're not doing it for yourself, your batteries are going to go very
Yeah.
low soon.
I love shutting the damn phone off. Few things I think bring me that much joy these days as shutting the phone off and be like, nope, done with all this today. We're not doing anymore. It's freeing. It's very freeing, because I grew up in the '80s, and when I was in high school, I was very cool. Got myself a pager so that if somebody needed me, they could beep me and I could find myself a little public phone and call them. But until that point, the reins were off. Like
Right.
the pager itself was even a short leash, you know? I mean, maybe it wasn't as common to harass people nonstop, but like, you know, I went from riding my bike and, you know, just being told by my parents, like, just be home when the lights come on. Street lights come on, you have to be home. Nice and easy, you know? That was
Right.
the thing. And now if you go anywhere and you don't answer your phone for a while, people like get mad at you. And people like there's this problem with this society too, this instantaneous society that we've created that we feel that everyone must comply to. I'm not obligated to return a text to you. I'm not obligated to return a call to you. I don't have to
Right.
do a goddamn thing if I don't feel like it. And
Right.
we often think that, you know, the people on our phone need to reply right away. Well, some of us have other jobs. Some of us are working. Some of us are busy. Some of us are sleeping. Some of us having a goddamn mental breakdown. We can't get to it right now. But we get mad. But you didn't get back to me. Well, there's stuff going on. Like, it's okay. You
Right.
know,
Right.
if you really need me, call me. We can talk about stuff and leave me a message. I'll get back to you when I can. But we've decided that people have to jump through all these hoops. And now, like, especially after Black Friday and Cyber Monday and whatever the goddamn garbage is, I'm glad the political season's over at least. The amount of text messages from stuff I don't want. I don't want to
Right.
be bothered. I keep pressing stop, just like on my cell phone. In the morning, I get up to go to the bathroom because that's what I do in the morning. I know it's a big secret, but I have to poop. When I get up in the morning and I go to the toilet, the first thing I do is look at that phone and just start deleting emails because it's a waste of my time. So if I'm going
Right.
to be doing something else that's wasting my time, I'm going to flush it all down at once. So I just start deleting all this crap, unsubscribing to more shit because I don't want it. Because think
Right.
about this. Takes you 5 minutes a day, maybe, right? Like one sitting, maybe 5 minutes to get rid of all your spam mail, your nonsense mail that you get that you never subscribe to. But that time adds up. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Now we're up to, you know, 60 minutes a week, 70 minutes a week. Throughout the course of the month, we've given away 4 hours of our day just deleting crap we never wanted. We've
Right.
created this insane society where we're wasting time of our lives to deal with stuff that we've never asked for, but we are now obligated to take part in. I'm just done with it. So I will only delete emails while pooping.
So there we go. So if your message gets deleted, at least you know he was doing
Yeah,
something
I
else
was,
at the same. He was multitasking. There,
I'm,
we just proved the fact that men can multitask.
yeah,
A
indeed.
lot of a
Anyway,
lot of women don't believe that.
no, I've made my whole life multitask.
um, you know, I always have a morning rule. There is no social media for the first 3 hours of me waking up because I know there's people who wake up and they have to jump on their phones just
Mhm.
because they have to see what they've missed in the
Yeah,
world.
it
And
happened overnight.
yeah, it's
You know?
eh, yeah, I mean, that's yeah. You could spend your whole day. It could be a full 40 hour a week job
Yeah, it's
just to
ridiculous.
delete your spam emails. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, I have
it's
a morning
nice.
rule is I don't go on any social medias. I try not to even look at my phone. I put it in my
Yeah,
pocket. I go get my coffee, get my breakfast, and I sit at work and I just reflect on all the wonderful things that are going to be happening that day and what I'm grateful for. I always try to start my day out with at least three things I'm grateful for that
yeah,
day.
yeah,
And I try to change it up because it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm grateful that the sun is shining. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs." But I have to try to change it up to say, I got to think of three different things why I'm grateful for
yeah.
today.
Yeah, that's a great little challenge. I've got this thing on. I have one of those Patreon pages, and within that, there's, you know, a bunch of nonsense and videos and things with my puppets and haunted stuff. But the thing that I'm most passionate about within there is called the AOK Project, the Acolytes of Kindness, and it's like the basic level. It's like the $5 a month, like minimum participation level. But on my AOK project, we do a monthly Zoom meeting to talk about what we did the month before and talk about what's coming up. But every week I put up a quest of kindness, something that I want us to try to do this week to inspire others or to help others. With Thanksgiving just a week ago, it was taking a $5 or $10 bill with a little sticky note that says "Happy Thanksgiving, stay a-okay," and stick it on a frozen bird or a fresh turkey. It helps somebody else out, that's looking for the right Thanksgiving treat for themselves, and a nice way to kind of just send that ripple effect of kindness out there. This week, what was this week's? Oh, this week is post a Christmas song every day that you like and explain why you like it, and just kind of
Right.
send that musical ripple effect out there into the world. Maybe it'll unlock some memories from people from their childhood, because I think that's where a lot of Christmas joy comes from, and I think that's so important. So we're trying to do it that way. So the AOK project isn't about ourselves; it's about changing the world around us, week by week. But there is a monthly mission, and the monthly mission is something that we need to reflect on ourselves to make ourselves better. So, like you were talking about before, like we can't get run down, right? Like you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you help other people. So this month was take 7 minutes a day, 7 minutes of silence every day to just sit somewhere where you are not being inundated by outside noise or noise from the house or people or whatever, and just sit for 7 minutes. If you want to put a soft timer on your phone, something to alert you when the 7 minutes is up, but you'd be surprised how long 7 minutes really is when you're
Right.
not listening to anything, when you're not being stimulated, when you're just being. And I feel like that helps to reset us a little bit too. But we've done one, like you said before, don't touch your phone until you've been up for at least an hour. I get you have to set your alarm maybe to wake yourself up, because if not, naturally I get up at 10, job starts at 8. They wouldn't appreciate that. But try not to just get up and get right on the phone and start doom scrolling crap or whatever. I get up, I shut my alarm off. I always cross myself and say thanks for another day, and then I go get the shower started, delete all the emails, and I listen to my Christian podcast while I get ready, and then I shift into work mode after that. But I try not to jump right into that too, because although it's real and we are connecting in some ways, it's not the real world, and that's not really what it's. I don't think, at least, what it's supposed to be about. So we can use these tools to do good things like we're doing now, and like I try to
Right.
do with my social media projects and stuff. So we can try to do good things with them, but we can't let them control who we are, and it's sad that there's generations of people now that are growing up that don't know any other way. And I made a YouTube video called "Hold Hands, Not Phones," because you just see people that are lacking that contact. Parents just shoving an iPad in front of the kid when the kid cries. Like there's no coddling or
Right.
trying to calm them down or anything. And I know it's not easy, but we can't just constantly give somebody a button to push. So
Yeah. I mean it is. I mean, yeah. Yeah. It's. I. I have two older kids. I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. And I told them, life was so much different when all this social media, telephones, walk around with a telephone. I said, it was a much enjoyable time when we didn't have to rely on what was happening on the internet or what was somebody saying on Facebook today. And I said, you should just stop and just enjoy life once in a while
mhm.
instead of, I mean, because you can't bring anybody anywhere without them sitting down. The first thing they do is pull out their phone and stare at the screen for an
Yeah,
hour. I mean, like even walking into like a Starbucks. I mean, before you used to go in there and see people talking, but now it's like you walk in there, you see a table, and they're all on their phones.
yeah.
But yet they're messaging each other, but they're all on their phones. It's like,
It's funny too. Like you go to a lot of places, and like the people working, like always have one AirPod in or something. Like they're always half doing something else. We're always leading these weird little half lives. So I just
yes,
want to say thank you to Miss Vanessa and Anthony. They've been putting up some very nice things up there. I appreciate you guys very much. And I'm always thankful that we've crossed paths too. We've met some really great people, indeed. And Tim
yeah,
Shaw, well, it can't all be winners, I guess.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We love Tim.
He's the best
He's
thing I've ever found in the Detroit airport.
uh, and that's another thing I want to talk to you about. I mean, you stay positive when you are stuck inside these airports for a ridiculous amount. I mean, I think there should be an award for somebody who spends the most time in an airport, and it would
Okay.
have Dustin written on it every month because it's like I and you stay so positive and upbeat about that.
Delusional, Dale. I keep trying to tell you, I'm not in my right mind. But I just try to like. I'm like, well, you only can control what you can control. Like
Right.
people stand in line, like I want to know why the plane's delayed. I don't know. There's a freaking seagull in the engine. Like penguins are playing hockey on the runway. What the hell are you going to do about it? You're not going to do anything. It doesn't matter why. Just sit down, go get yourself like a sandwich or a drink or something. Like just relax, you know. I get we got places to go. I've got places to go. I'm constantly like tight quarters, like you know, I gotta land quick, wash up, go do the event, get back to the hotel, sleep a couple hours, fly home, go to work again. It's not like I'm just living this like life of luxury. I'm like, screw it, doesn't matter where I am. I got stuff to do too, but I just choose to focus my energy where it could best be utilized. And me standing in line and yelling at somebody behind a counter, one would never happen, but two, it's not going to change the situation. They're not responsible for what happened. You know,
Right.
there's weather patterns. There's flights. It's a damn miracle we're up there in the first place. So like, just relax. You could be in a car somewhere. You could be in a friggin' wagon train still. Just be thankful that you've got some options. You know, but I just make the most of it. I love playing Pokemon. So that is one of my my phone vices. But you know, I use it to kill time when I'm stuck in an airport where I could be getting mad. Like I'll walk around and I get exercise. I'm walking around. I'm hatching my little Pokemon eggs, playing my game. I meet random people sometimes. I like to think I'm a likable fella, so I meet people. And then I get this guy. This guy causes troubles, but we have fun. Mr. Herman. He sings songs in the airport. We were in Chicago, O'Hare one night, and there was it was one of those like we're going to be stuck there all night deals, and we were walking around. I was trying to find the Sprinkles Cupcake factory vending machine. So Mr. Herman and I were out, and I'm walking around with him, and I see this sign. Now it's like 2 a.m. and I see the sign, and it says Hot Dog Express, and I'm like, oh, we can do something with that. So I'm making the video of him. Now there's nobody else around, and he's talking about how back in high school the girls all used to call him the Hot Dog Express, and I'm laughing, and he's laughing, and we're having a great time. And then I look, and the maintenance guy is standing there right next to me. I was like, oh, I just walk away like nothing happened.
uh,
We got in trouble in the woods too. We were doing one of his Mr. Herman escapes videos, and I was out in the woods with him. And so, like, I'm filming him, but I'm yelling off camera, like I'm looking for him. So I'm like, Herman, where are you, Mr. Herman? And then, like, you know, I find him and I'm talking to him. And as I'm putting the phone away, I hear rustling in the woods, and there is a full-fledged hunter with the orange jacket, the dog, and the gun. He's like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did you find your friend?" And here I am, a mid-40s man holding a doll in the woods in the middle of the day. Like, "Yep." I just put him in my jacket, walked away. He must have went home and told whoever he lives with, like, "You'll never believe the creepy bastard I met in the woods today."
probably telling everybody, don't go in the woods. There's a very dangerous man in the woods. He's him and his doll. Do not go in there. Uh, I mean, that is, I mean,
That
amazing
sums up
that
the problem
you
with
find a positive way to just have fun with life, and I think that's the great thing about who you are,
well, thank you, sir.
because anybody who has met you and knows you, like, I mean, you are one of the most easiest guys to approach and talk to because
Thanks, man.
you got an energy about you that, like, you walk in and your energy just fills the room and everybody's just happy that Dustin's there.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that, Dale. Thank you very much.
Tim wants to know where the police alerted.
As quick as possible. I get out of there as quick as I could.
um, but I mean, and that's the positivity of life, and I mean, it's just I think so many people just take life so seriously and not have fun,
Mhm.
and to do something creative. I mean, you are always busy. You're out there. I mean, you work a regular job, and then you're always gone on the weekends. It's like, it's just like, does he ever stop? Because I'm afraid if he ever stops, he might fall over or
That
something.
might be the end. Yeah. I do I usually get like one one day a month, if not every 2 months, because like September, October, forget about it. There's no time for what I call my Odin sleep, and I will sleep for about 15 to 17 hours straight. Like I would just knock out completely. And then when I wake up, it's like nothing ever happened. Like I'm completely rejuvenated again. And I know scientifically they say it doesn't work like that with sleep. You should be getting 68 hours every night. But I don't have that kind of time. So I get the Odin sleep like once every 4 to 6 weeks. And we just do the best we can.
And Tim says we need more Dustins in the world.
No, we definitely do not. My God, what a friggin' mess that would be. Bunch of weirdos walking around. No way. No way.
But like I said, it's getting to know you over the last few years. Been very fortunate enough to be able to share some good times together. Just hanging out and watching you do your thing. And like I said, even in August, Dustin will come in the room singing Christmas carols,
Yeah, you know it, brother.
and
Love
everybody just turns and goes, "What?" but,
it.
but you see everybody's mood change. They're like,
Yeah,
because it's something about Christmas music. Yeah, it does get
yeah,
people. Most people pretend like they hate Christmas music. Oh,
right.
it's too early for Christmas music. I mean, there's a station in Detroit. As soon as November 1st hits, they play Christmas music all the way through Christmas.
Nice.
I mean,
Nice.
I could take this station, but it's like everybody else is like, oh no, I don't want to hear Christmas music till Christmas Eve. I'm like, why? You feel
Yeah,
better when you
that's a
hear
lot
Here
to
Comes
squeeze
Frosty the
in.
Snowman.
Yeah, that's a lot to try to squeeze in one night, man. Like, I usually give my Christmas music a break like in January just because it just kind of peaks around Christmas time. But I like to listen to it right up until like New Year's. Sometimes, I don't like to take the decorations down until Elvis's birthday in January. It's like we leave this stuff up for a little while. Let's celebrate. But I find Christmas music just raises my spirits, and that's why I did that for the Quest of Kindness for the AOK project this week. And I wrote about on the project page, I wrote about the memory that my first memory of Christmas music is at my Nana's house, my mom's parents' house, and I'm laying on the floor on my stomach. Next to me is that big flat grate that they had right in the floor where all the hot air would just come straight up. And it was hot to the touch. And laying there next to that and playing on the record player the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer album, and just staring at the box art, just staring at the album cover. This like magical blue with the stars, and there's Rudolph, and I'm like, I just wanted to be a part of that world. I just felt like I could somehow get in there. And anytime I hear that stuff, it makes me so happy. And I was on a plane. I think I was writing one of my books. It might have been And the Devil Shivered. And I'm on the plane, and this was before AirPods, and so I'm like, wired in to my laptop, and I'm listening to Christmas music, and it's like August, and we've taken off. We're a couple of songs in. I think it was actually Rudolph was on, and the flight attendant comes over, and she says, "Sir, would you mind plugging those headphones in?" I felt like such a jackass. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I am so sorry. And then I plug him in, and I'm like, wait a second. And I looked at the guy sitting next to me. I'm like, dude, you didn't think to say anything? He's like, oh, I was kind of enjoying it. It was so good.
Oh my God. That's yes, Dustin does love his dessert.
Yeah.
Tim
Oh,
says my
yes.
favorite memory of Dustin is VIP dinner at the MI Paracon where I
Yeah.
asked everyone to donate their desserts to Dustin.
I had one of those 10-foot round tables, and it was filled with random cakes and pies from everybody. I ate about a dozen of them before I had to tap out. I couldn't do it all. I don't want to like just rush to diabetes, but steady progress.
Take the slow road.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's before I went to the gym today. I had pumpkin pie and whipped cream. It's like I need a little treat for myself. And that's the thing.
uh,
Some guy at the gym last week, he saw me. He's like, you're looking really good. He's like, what is it that you eat? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I follow you on Facebook. He's like, it's always like Christmas tree cakes and candy corn. He's like, do you ever like? He's like, that's not what you really eat, though, right? I'm like, no, that's pretty much it. mean, I don't really eat healthy. I eat what I want, but I eat like, I think traveling through Europe helped me out with realizing portion control. Like growing up in an Italian family in New England, like Sunday was 2 pounds of pasta, big bowl of meatballs, full loaf of Italian bread. We'd sit there, eat all that stuff, watch NASCAR. And I remember being in Italy and I ordered pasta. I'm like, the hell is this? Like a side dish? I'm like, what is this? 5 gnocchi on a plate. I don't understand what's going on here. But I realized that in America, we just do our portions really big. And so traveling, I realized, you know what? You can eat what you want. You just need to eat less of it. You don't need to never have pumpkin pie again. But just instead of eating a quarter of a pie in the sitting like I would normally do, I just have like a little sliver. I just try to cut it down a little bit, but you can still enjoy it. Moderation, my dear friend, moderation.
And I think Dustin said it best in his Thanksgiving post. He says, I work out so I can eat. I'm like, I'm like, that makes so much sense. But
Yeah.
if everybody watched Dustin in all of his posts, especially when he's in traveling and stuff like that, he shows you what he eats, and it's like, yeah, he just
Yeah.
works out so he can eat more food.
Can eat whatever the hell I want. And Thanksgiving was a great day. I had all the mashed potatoes I wanted, the mac and cheese. It was amazing. I'm a happy boy.
Uh, throughout the show, I like to do I do little motivational quotes and parts of songs and stuff like that.
All right.
Now, there is one I constantly listen to. It's called Fearless Motivation, and I was listening to this one the other day, and it kind of took me. It's called The Lone Wolf, and it says, "It's not easy going at it alone, but if you keep going, stay true to yourself, it will be worth it in the end. The hardest walk you can make is the walk alone, but is but that is the walk that makes you the strongest. That is the walk that builds your character the most. All of you fighting battles alone, all you're going against the grain, battling the naysayers. Stay strong, keep going. This walk is hard, but the hardest walk leads to the greatest destination. The toughest climb will always lead to the best views." And that is so true in life. It is, you might be alone, but you know what? It's always the grind that to focus on your goals, keep going, and don't stop until you get where you're going. And I mean, I see you. Your feet are always on the ground. You're always pushing the envelope. You're always have a destination in mind. And for somebody, I mean, some people who don't know you might think that you have it all. Like you don't need to work any harder. But I mean, there's Dustin every day. He keeps pushing himself harder and harder.
You wait
So
and
I mean,
see. You just wait and see
you
what
are
I'm
an inspiration to
my friend.
many of us.
I appreciate that, and I'm working on something pretty crazy next. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it, but we're going to continue to see it through. We're in talks with some new things, not television or any of that. More of my motivational stuff, but it's a little out there. But so am I, so we'll see. But yeah, you gotta find your path, and you gotta find your way, and it's tough, especially when friends and even family members that you thought would always be by your side on these journeys. Sometimes you have to kind of push them to the wayside, because the people that you really think are going to believe in you and coach you and be there to lift you up and help you along the journey. Sometimes we have family and friends that don't fit that mold, that aren't there for us, whether it's out of jealousy, whether it's out of anger, whether they're just not that type of person. It doesn't make them a bad person, but sometimes there are those moments in that journey that you do have to just do it by yourself. And there's something to be said for that feeling of accomplishment. I remember going to do like one of those Spartan race things, where, I mean, there's hundreds of people with you running and doing all the things, but every challenge you have to do by yourself. You have to get through all those things on your own, climbing over things, going under things. And it's just nice to see that we can still push the envelope a little bit. I think that one of the worst things we can do in this world is acquiesce to the storm around us and just say, you know what, I'm pulling in the paddles and the oars. Screw it, we're done. This is good enough. It can't be good enough. You have to have your arms extended and reaching out for more. If there's still breath in your lungs, if there's still blood pumping through it, yeah, take time to smell the roses. Enjoy the success that you've earned. Enjoy those happy little moments, those quiet moments that nobody else even needs to know about, but always be pushing yourself forward. Because when we just grow stagnant, when we finally just stop, that's when we start to
And that is so true. So before, I mean, it has been a great pleasure sitting through here, getting to talk to you about the motivational stuff. I mean, talking about the paranormal is great and all,
yeah,
but I
ghost,
mean, you know,
ghost.
it's it's like I said, it's been a great pleasure watching you over all these years, getting to know you. And I mean, I often send you a message when I read something that really resonates me for the day, because I truly appreciate that you're out there and you're lifting everybody's spirits, and it makes life so much better knowing that you even exist in this world.
Thank you very
Because
much, Dale.
and I would have to agree with Tim that we definitely do need more Dustins in this world, because I think we would be a lot happier and more motivated
Well,
to have more Dustins.
that's
But
very kind of you, brother. We could use you could use some people a lot better than I am, but I'll take the compliment, and I appreciate it very much. Because sometimes I sit here and I'm like, I don't know if any of this shit makes a difference that I'm doing, but I believe it does. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And you come across people, and there's those shared moments, and you're like, yep, this is all worth it. And I will continue to just do what I do because it's just who I am, and to not do it to be to deny myself. So. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight. I want to thank everybody who's going to watch this thing and be a part of it. And I look forward to seeing you again on the road, my friend, and all the good things that are still to come.
I will see you up in March at the Pottergraphs, where me and
Well,
Michael John will be making our debut as speakers
oh,
at the
great.
Pottergraphs.
Well,
So
fantastic.
yeah,
Autographs is a great
we get
event.
to. Oh, it's an amazing event. Like I said, Tim and Lauren, they are
Mhm.
truly two amazing people.
Yeah.
Always look forward to hanging out with everybody and being part of such an amazing event. So I'm going to give you this opportunity. What is Dustin up to? Where is Dustin going to be? And how do
Good
we get
question.
a hold of Dustin?
Man, yeah, we've still got like 12 more things to do. I think before now the end of the year. I've been doing a lot of work with my good friend television's Chris Williams from Ghost Hunters. We're going to be doing a double header event this weekend, one in Connecticut and one in Massachusetts at the Leffingwell House Museum in the Oliver House. So we've started some YouTube series called Rebellious Spirits, and we started a little Patreon, and we're trying to tie together influential people throughout history, and also people that were big into debunking and calling out the nonsense in the paranormal field, because there seems to be a lack of that these days. So Chris and I are doing that. We're also going to be over at the Rhodes Hotel together next year doing another Rebellious Rise Up event. That's over in Atlanta, Indiana, not Georgia, Atlanta, Indiana. But we've got stops at OSR in January. I'm going to be in Kansas and McIntyre Villa in 2 weeks at one of my favorite locations. And yeah, I'm here, there, and everywhere. But you can find me at dustinpari.com. There's links to my Patreon page. Would love to have you be a part of the AOK project. And I appreciate everyone's support. And I'll just continue to do what I do, and you continue to do what you do. And let me just ask you, Dale, will there be any Canadian chocolates at the event that we're doing at Photographs?
You know it. You know I would never
Right.
disappoint you, to make sure that I make sure all my favorite Americans get their Canadian chocolate.
I appreciate that. You guys do it right up there. Fantastic.
Je- I always like Jeff. Jeff likes to call it Canadian crack.
Yes. Well, it's very similar, I'm sure. It's amazingly ridiculous.
um,
Unlike Jeff, though, I've never actually had crack, so I can't say. That's why we have the lounge here.
but Dustin, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today. Talk about your motivation. Talk about what it is that makes Dustin tick. Makes Dustin happy, because we appreciate you, buddy. We love you.
Thanks, man.
I wish you and the family all the best this Christmas season. I look forward to seeing you again in March, having a couple of brewskis, talking about how well life is going.
Sounds good, my friend. I shall see you then. Good luck with the show.
Thank you so much. So, everybody, thank you for joining us here tonight. I appreciate everybody on the side, everybody who made comments. And if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and share out the channel. It is brand new. It's just started going, and I appreciate people like Dustin. And next week, next Tuesday, speaking about Tim Shaw, I have Tim Shaw and Frank Kupka going to be on the show, and we are going to be talking about inspiring the Lunker Nation, and I'll tell you that and what that means and what inspires these guys to do what they do. So, with that, folks, I want to say have a good evening, and always remember that tomorrow is always a different day, and definitely tomorrow needs you. Have a good night, everybody.